Hi guys, this is Dheeraj Jadhav from Revealing Our Creations. I work as a embedded system engineer in Revealing Our Creations. So today we are having a hangout on the beacons. Actually, we were having this on the 21st, but because of some technical difficulties, we had to cancel the that hangout. But we are doing it today. So today's hangout is on the beacons introduction. So first of all, I'll tell you what topics I'm going to cover in today's hangout. Okay, so this is the list of the topics what we are going to discuss today. So we'll first see what are beacons, its use cases, technical specifications for the beacons, and some case studies. Okay, so starting over with the what are beacons. So I consider most of you must be knowing about the Bluetooth Low Energy, and so you know a bit of context about the beacons. So beacons are basically small devices that broadcast and receives a Bluetooth Smart, Bluetooth Low Energy, or Bluetooth 4.0 radio signal. So the reason why I've kept all the names together is a lot of people they know beacons or the Bluetooth Low Energy with different names. So basically, Bluetooth Smart was the term initially introduced by Nokia for the this Bluetooth 4.0, the latest version what we have in the market. So most of the people they call it as a Bluetooth Low Energy or simply Bluetooth 4.0. So basically, beacons are the small devices which broadcast this signal. The signal which generally beacon broadcast is consisted of three important parameters. They are namely the UUID, the major parameter, and the minor parameter. So basically, UUID, which is the unique identifier for the particular beacon, is a 16-byte long string. So that's consisted of 16-byte long string, and respectively major and minor. This parameter are of 2 bytes, 2 bytes long. So these are the three important parameter which generally beacon transmit the signal. So whenever beacon start broadcasting, it broadcasts with these three parameters. Beacon has also other parameters, namely transmission power and the advertisement interval, which are very important parameter of the beacon stack and which actually directly affects the operation of the beacons. Moving on to the next slide. So a lot of people they are like bit of confused between what exactly the beacon is. So a lot of people they think beacon is particular hardware what they see in the market nowadays, and some people who are from the software background they know what exactly the beacon is. So I just want to tell you that beacon is not just a hardware or a software, but it's a subset of the standard Bluetooth 4.0 protocol stack. And this protocol stack is supported by a typical BLE chipset. So we cannot say beacon as purely as a software stack or a hardware part, but it's a combination of both. And beacon is a subset of the standard Bluetooth 4.0 protocol stack. Uh, Again, a lot of people they are like misunderstood about the beacon, that beacon can actually transmit data, but the actual thing is beacon doesn't transmit data. What I've already discussed is it only broadcasts three parameters, namely UUID, major, and minor. So it can only alert world about its presence and can't actually transfer any data other than its advertising parameter. Okay, third point is for the data to actually get transferred, one has to establish a connection with the device. So a lot of beacon they come in two different modes. Some beacons are only read-only beacons, so that they will only broadcast these three parameters, and the user won't be able to make any connection with that beacon. But a user will be only listening to the broadcasted parameter. Other type of beacon they have the read and write both the access. So with those kind of beacon, so simply we can call it as an access point for a beacon. So they will broadcast their parameters so that a user can sense the presence of the beacon, and if that beacon is tied up with some device, so that user can establish a connection and the further data transfer can happen only after making a connection. So this is very important point with the beacon, that beacon cannot actually transfer data It only broadcasts its beacon parameter, and for the actual data transfer to happen, one has to establish a connection. The first point, beacons advertising parameters help determine other devices about its proximity. Uh, okay, so whenever beacon transmit this three parameters, so along with this three parameters, the transmission power what the beacon is transmitting with is received by the user or a smart device. So that is generally measured in the RSSI. So RSSI is basically received signal strength indicator. So whenever a smart device sends any beacon, it measures what exactly the RSSI value is. Generally, the RSSI value is directly proportional to the distance of the beacon from the smart device. But there are a lot of factors which generally affects our SSI. So one cannot directly or perfectly measure the distance of the beacon from the smart device. But a general approximation can be estimated by using the RSSI value, and this is what generally is done with all the smart devices or the algorithm. Okay, so even the RSSI value get affected by the surrounding value. So let's say the beacon is placed in a place where there are a lot of metal objects. So this RSSI transmissions can be so the signal which is transmitted by the beacon can be absorbed by the these metal objects, and that directly affects the RSSI received by the smart device. So therefore, as I said, RSSI can't be considered as a perfect parameter for measuring the distance, but yeah, definitely you can estimate the approximate distance of the beacon from the smart device. Okay, so there are plenty of beacons available in the market, as well as the chipset on top of which custom hardware can be developed. So, as I said, nowadays a lot of manufacturers have started developing their custom beacons. So as I said, the today's topic is a generalized beacon and not like concerned with any of the manufacturer. Yeah, but iBeacon is the first one which got a lot of popularity because of its documentation and overall boom because it was introduced by the Apple. Okay, but as I said, the beacon is the standard stack of Bluetooth 4.0. Its specification are open to everyone. So the people who are providing the hardware chip, anybody who wants to actually manufacture their own beacon, they can get those hardware chips and write their own beacon stack on that and get their own beacon hardware in the market. So that is not all, but all of our smart devices. So most of the smart devices right now in the market comes with the BLE built in. So a lot of devices which are having the BLE chipset built in, they can scan for the beacon, as well as they can those devices can also transmit as a beacon. So your smart devices can also be acting as a beacon and can trigger various action depending on its present in a different area. Okay, so as I said, that beacon specification are given in the Bluetooth 4.0 stack, but a lot of people they have started manufacturing their own beacons with several different specification. So I have just listed down the generalized technical specification what you will see in each and every beacon hardware in the market. So the general working voltage range for the beacon is normally 2.5 to 3.7 volt DC. The working frequency is obviously 2.4 gigahertz. The range you will get with the beacon or the Bluetooth 4.0 would be a typical Bluetooth range, that is 100 meters in line of sight. Uh, okay, so I just want to discuss over this point also the range, which is I've listed down as the 100-meter in line of sight. So a lot of beacon hardware they have this transmission power as a programmable parameter. So the beacons broadcast parameters, the range for those parameters can be programmed by setting the transmission power value. so that you can set your beacon range for 1 meter or 5 meter or 10 meter, or like go on whatever that hardware supposed to do with the transmission power. Yeah, this is one of the very important parameter, that is the current which is required by the Bluetooth Low Energy, which is typically 400 microampere to 1.5 milliampere, depending on what transmission power your beacon or the Bluetooth Low Energy is using. So typically, why this Bluetooth is called as low energy is because of its current consumption. So you can see that it it, it merely requires 400 microamps to 1.5 milliamp. This type of current requirement enables Bluetooth Low Energy to work for a year, or if you are very good at the power customization and utility, you can even make it work for more than a year on just a single coin cell battery. The working temperature is the normal, and what we see for the other chipset too, that is -5 to +65 degrees centigrade. Okay, so technical specification for all the beacons varies a bit from manufacturer to manufacturer. As I said, even the Bluetooth beacons specification are open on the Bluetooth 4.0 stack. But since a lot of people they have started developing their own hardware, they started making some modification with the stack, and they keep on introducing their proprietary specification so that they can create their what we call as the single hardware which can talk to the same vendor's manufactured hardware. So two hardware which belongs to a same vendor can only talk to each other. So I guess this should be the intention of the manufacturer. Therefore, they're introducing their proprietary specification in the beacon working stack. Okay, so here are some use cases. So when the Bluetooth 4.0 was introduced, the item tracking thing was the first use what people started doing. People started building product based on that. So there are nowadays there are a lot of BLE trackers in the market. So basically, these are a small devices, tracking devices, which you can tie up to any of your item, and they keep transmitting those UUID major and minor, which help you determine its presence around you and the actual distance from your smartphone. So generally, this kind of use cases works with the smartphone app, so which you can track each and every second, so whether that particular item is within your range or not. And if that goes out of the range, it will send you some notification to let you know that you are leaving your items behind. After item tracker, indoor navigation was the biggest use cases which were focused with the BLE's introduction. So there are several examples where people have actually integrated indoor navigation. So the main reason why BLE was considered for the indoor navigation was we all use the GPS, but you must be knowing that GPS signals are get very weak when you get in indoor. So while you are indoor, the GPS signals couldn't be used for actually detecting where exactly you are in the close places. So for an example, I can consider we can consider a mall. So if you are in a mall and if you want to go to certain shop, then the GPS signal won't be able to tell you the actual location of that shop. But with the help of BLE, you can set up in a array format so that the app can guide you through where exactly app can detect your current location, and it can guide you through to the exactly shop which are required by you. So this was the very useful case which was introduced with the BLE 4. Bluetooth 4.0. Proximity based retail advertisement, promotion, and offer. So these are some use cases which are specifically related to the retail. So uh, as we know, proximity based or the location based advertisement is one of the biggest business in the world, and people are diving into it as much as possible. So proximity-based retail advertisement is one of a very useful use case for all this. So with the proximity-based retail advertisement, when a person enters any store, the beacon can actually transmit those parameters so that the app which is already installed on person's smartphone can pop up a notification with several customized offer on retail or the sale or whatever current trend is going on that shop. So the custom sale offer can be given to that person. So this is the use case for the retail. Even these beacons can be used in the hotels for auto check-in and auto checkout. So once a person enters into the hotel, a hotel app can actually detect the person's presence in the hotel, and then the app can automatically check that person in or check that person out. Similarly goes for if you want to get the access for the hotel room, then your phone can act as a beacon. So your phone can transmit as a beacon, and whenever you come into the range of your room door, the door can be unlocked. The beacon, as I said, the beacon only transmit three parameters and doesn't transmit any data. So it can be used for sending the informal messages. It can be used to from the app to send some information about the museum or the useful stuff which is there in the museum. So whenever you pass by those items, the information about that can be popped up on your cell phone. Okay, the beacon can be also used in the stadium for finding the set. So as I've seen, like the indoor navigation in the mall, the same way, the same setup can be integrated in the stadium, so that whenever you enter into stadium, the app can guide you through all the sets and will help you find your set. In malls, yeah, this can be a very good use of it, as in malls parking and finding your car is a bit hassle. So in malls, this could be implemented for improved parking facility and getting user upward or downwards on certain things. So the beacon can be also introduced on getting the analytics on airport for auto check-in, similar to the hotel use. The same with the flights and all. So you can push real-time flight information, reporting user about delay, even the indoor navigation at the airport, and auto check-ins into the flight. Touchless payment integration. This is something nowadays people are looking for. So touchless payment integration. So one of the example for this is the PayPal beacon. But a lot of people may think how secure it will be to integrate the beacon with the payment gateways. But as I said, beacon cannot transfer data. So even with the PayPal beacon, they have taken a lot of secure steps in the payment integration. So beacon is just a starting point for initiating, or what we can say is a trigger for initiating a payment. But but when beacon PayPal beacon actually triggers the payment, that payment gateway goes through a lot of to and fro security authentication to actually make the payment happen. So we can only think of beacon in the touchless payment as a triggering option and not actually transferring any secure data. An automotive for unlocking and locating car, same as which can be done with the hotel room doors and all. The same can be integrated with the automotive for unlocking doors and locating cars if wherever parked in the parking. Okay. With the I want to put some focus on the touchless payment integration is so a lot of time as security is the most concerned part with the beacon, and the main thing is as the beacon stack is completely open to the people and people can actually make customization according to their requirement. Beacon can also be cloned. So basically, why security is a very important factor in the payment integration is the beacon or the parameters which are transmitted by the payment beacon can be cloned by other hardware too, so that they can even transmit as that PayPal beacon or the payment beacon. So the app or the user the app which is installed with the user's smartphone can get confused between two beacons to exactly know which beacon he has to look for. Therefore, beacon has to be only used as a trigger in the payment integration and not actually transferring any data. Okay. Uh, whatever use cases and the specification what I have discussed, the main issues what I have figured out is the compatibility issues on different platforms. This is mainly because of a lot of vendors introducing their proprietary stuff in the beacon stack. So Apple introduced their beacon with the brand name of iBeacon. So the iBeacon, the parameter or the broadcasting interval on which the iBeacon broadcasts is a bit different than how Android phone handle the beacon. So basically, iBeacon can't be directly found or scanned by the Android beacon or the Android beacon stack. So these are the parameters which are getting affected by the proprietary stuff what people are introducing in it. So it's actually creating compatibility issues on the different platforms. So it may happen that the app which is transmitting an app on the iOS which is transmitting as a beacon wouldn't be actually found by the Android phones. So this is because of the even Samsung had introduced their own custom beacon specification. The beacon which is there in the Samsung phone, not all, but there are some, they transmit at different intervals. So again, the iBeacon won't be able to actually detect those beacons. So what I found out is there has to be a universal specification which should be adopted by each and every manufacturer so that we can have the cross-platform compatibility. Smart device manufacturers should adopt single beacon standard to make it universally usable. That is what I have discussed. Only around 50% of the smartphone across globe have BLE chipset, which creates divide dependency on this technology. So the study which was released by Android and the Apple in 2014. So according to them, the devices, the smartphone devices which we have in the market right now, so only 50% of them are having the BLE chipset in it. So even people have started adopting integrating beacon or the BLE into different sectors, but the main thing is the user only they only 50% of the user all across the globe are actually available for those kind of technology. So this is a bit of a stone in the beacon's journey in the tech world. But this is something which wouldn't be there after a year, I guess, because this percentage is 50. So around about a year, probably this will shift up to 70 or 80%. So whatever application we are seeing for the beacon or the BLEs nowadays in the market would be more acceptable or the more reliable after a year, I guess. So this was all about the beacons. So if you have any questions regarding beacons, you can mail down on my mail ID, or you can just pop up on the you can just write it down on the window on the right hand side on the beacon. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much.